Minion builds are back. Hey guys, Loadburger here, also known as the Burger Loa. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to talk about the new updates to Minion builds in Diablo 4. Specifically, there are three things that we're going to cover. 1, the current state of Minion builds. 2, the huge updates that we're getting in Season 4. 3, asking if those are enough. Let's jump right in. Before Diablo 4 came out, I remember watching the trailers and being so excited when I saw that Necromancer announcement and being surrounded by the skeletons, the sacrificing, and the golems. Let's talk about how that converted into the actual game. Although, I'll be honest, in beta, Necros were very powerful. Their summoning builds especially, and they were continuously being called to be nerfed. During live, when the game first came out, Minion builds were fine, you could breeze through the campaign. However, in the end game, that's when it really started falling apart. Minion builds were not able to do much damage, they died way too frequently, and it just did not keep up in comparison to other Necromancer builds like Bone Spear, which to this day is one of the best builds in the game. Now let's not discount other companion builds, specifically the Druid and his Wolf Voice. Since day one, the Wolves, very cool concept, but unfortunately they just were never strong enough. So what's changing in Season 4? Let's find out. In Season 4, the primary change that's coming is that Necromancer, Druid, Barbarian, and even Sorcerer Companions are going to receive 100% of all of your attributes. So that's going to be your core stats like intelligence, strength, etc. All of your passive stats, so crit, attack speed, damage, vulnerability chance, is all going to be added to your companions, which is huge because beforehand, they only got 50% of some of those stats like attack speed and crit. This should make them have much more survivability, deal a lot more damage, and 3, create some viable builds at last. Are we finally going to see summoning classes entering the meta? Now, let's break down what specific skills are going to be impacted by each of these classes. Alright guys, so first off, let's take a look at the Necromancer. We have our skeleton warriors, we have our big golem here, we have our mages as well. So if we scroll over them, we'll see that these are attributed to summoning. So summoning tagged abilities are considered companions. So that means all our skeletons, all our golems are now going to have all of our attributes. Also, on top of the gameplay itself, we're getting a lot of improvements to the Book of the Dead for Necromancer. Warriors are actually going to initiate combat and jump ahead, which is great because I never felt they took initiative, and there were a lot of times when I was moving around, I felt like my character was a lot more vulnerable than it needed to be if I wanted my minions to tank. There are big upgrades to Reapers, to Defenders, to Shadow Mages. In everything, they really are redoing the way that the passives work for the Book of the Dead, because especially for the minions specifically, I felt like each of the upgrades in the Book of the Dead were very impactful, and it felt like sacrificing them gave you more benefit than using the minions and selecting those perks. Now jumping into the Druid Companions are all getting buffed as well. So our Wolf Boys here, they are going to get 100% of our stats. Ravens are as well, and then the Poison Creeper also seeing a buff. Barbarians, Call the Ancient is getting buffed, just improving the amount of damage that each of the Ancients do. And then lastly, for Sorcerer, all of the Conjuration skills are getting that companion buff too. Now, is this enough? As someone who always played summoning builds in Diablo games, from the Necromancer in Diablo 2 to initially the Witch Doctor and then the Necromancer in Diablo 3, these buffs give me hope. I feel like in terms of numbers, they're getting to where they need to be to compete with other builds. However, I am a little concerned about how they operate mechanically, and I'll use Necromancer specifically. They have been known to have issues with targeting enemies, and with your ability to command them to focus on a single target. We'll see how the Skeletal Warrior change affects that, but what I would love to see is something similar to what you find in Last Epoch, where there's a separate key that you press to command all of your minions to go someplace or attack a single target. For those of you still around, thank you for watching. If you want to come join me, I do stream on Twitch, and for my first 50 followers, each one will get a shout out on my next YouTube video. I will be streaming the Diablo 4 PTR Season 4 this upcoming week, so come join me, hang out, and for my first 50 followers on Twitch, I will give you a shout out in the next YouTube video.